online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello everybody out there on the internet, and welcome to the NXT After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Joining me as always, we have Mr. True Hobo.
Arizona's preferred hobo!
And you can find on Twitter at True Hobo. Also, Mr. Bill Hanstock.
That's me.
Yeah, that's you!
Thanks for introducing me, Mark.
I do what I can.
Where can the folks find you?
They can find me at Sunday Motel on Twitter.
Very
Do
good.
it.
Live tweeting all sorts of the wrestling goodness, and you can find me on Twitter at Donica, because I am Mark B. Donica. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. We're drifting into this week's episode of NXT as we drift slowly and kind of indiscriminately closer towards TakeOver Dallas. Just a little over 1 week away. We got a trip coming up, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's next week.
Don't
And
stop talking.
The panic attacks have begun.
Oh, just now for you? I've been going for the past couple of weeks.
I'm having anticipation attacks because I'm super excited. I love traveling and I love WrestleMania.
We'll talk more about that at the end of the show.
Lot
So-
of plotzing.
yeah.
So let's get into the show, because it was kind of balls to the wall, throw science at the wall, see what sticks, with just insanity when it comes to a lot. Like the opening match was Elias Sampson versus Johnny Gargano. Super strong way to open the show, don't you agree, gents?
Agreed. I really, seeing that it's Gargano versus Sampson, I thought Sampson was going to take this pretty quick. It actually didn't turn out that way.
No.
Gargano had more offense than I thought he was going to have.
No, Gargano got a fair amount in, but not as he didn't hit as heavy as Elias Sampson did. Like, he caught him with the knee when Gargano was going for the diving spear, and that kind of took everybody by surprise. But what took everybody else a little bit more by surprise was the roll-up that got Gargano the win. And
I
2-3 minute match.
completely caught off guard by that finish. I did not think there was any way Gargano was going to win. I mean, sure, maybe he'd have a good outing, you know, but he's not signed, and Sampson's been on a hot streak lately, so I figured,
Undefeated to this point.
completely undefeated, so sure, Sampson's gonna take it. That's just the assumption that my mind made was completely derailed by the fact that Gargano roll up 1, 2, 3, crowd explosion, and then the decimation of Johnny Wrestling.
Shortly after that, what did you think, Bill?
I thought it was really cool. This is like when Gargano made his entrance, I noted that this is the first like non-exclusive jobber that Elias Sampson has faced in his career thus far, and he's been on TV a lot. And this is the first person that he's faced that was like really, you know, a NXT caliber wrestler, or at least that we've been told to believe as such.
Totally.
So I thought that it was cool that anything that happened, and then all the post match stuff that happened. I thought, hey, here's, for the first time after watching this guy for like 4 months, here's the first bit of character development we've seen from him.
Goes crazy, just tears Johnny Gargano apart at the side of the ring. We hear him shout at him, "Embarrass me! I'm what they need!" before he runs him into the corner, hits a jumping knee against the apron. But to the rescue is good old Apollo Crews, breaks up the fight, and Elias kind of he just kind of slowly fades into the darkness.
He drifts away.
Yeah, like Homer into that
Backs to the
shrub.
bush.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad we were on the same
But
page there.
I thought it was actually, like, I mean, maybe not worth like the 4 months that we've been building toward it, but I thought I do like the story of like, hey man, this is supposed to be easy for me. I'm Elias Sampson the Drifter, baby.
Like, are we going back to
Shake
the?
and bake, baby.
Are we back into the
Right.
drug-induced?
Basically, you saw him like
Yeah.
freak out at least twice during this match and kind of do that faraway stare and kind of
His character is definitely a heroin addict.
Yeah, pretty much.
They do watch the show.
What are you on, kid? Knock it off. This whole thing's very strange. And then Cruz coming out for the save. Shouldn't Gargano get the first match? Why would Cruz come out to this for the save? That doesn't make any sense.
Gargano just beat Elias Sampson.
Right.
So what rematch does he need?
Yeah.
He got the W.
He got his tar beat out of him. Samson should be clamoring for the rematch. This isn't right. This isn't fair. Johnny Gargano beat me. Look at how small he is. That should be the first thing to come up. So where does Cruz come in? Are we actually looking forward to the possibility of a Cruz versus Samson match?
I think it'll be a clashing of styles, which I think could be something that Elias needs in order to shine. And with somebody as dynamite and on fire as Apollo Crews, it could be what both of them needs, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like it's matter meeting antimatter.
Yeah.
It's like smiling Apollo Crews versus like
freaking out Samson.
Yeah, Samson's like, didn't have a match today, huh?
They keep referencing him going back to the train station.
Yeah.
How does that rub you?
Taking his
Not
$16
well.
Taking his $16 and hitting the bricks.
That does not rub me particularly well. I don't know. It speaks for itself. Really. What do I have to say? Elias Sampson's
That's
a
what we
drifter.
were asking you. What do you have to say?
I don't even have to say anything. I've been the hobo for 7 years now. I've been this guy on a wrestling platform for 7 years. I don't have to say jack. Sampson's the one who has to tell me why he's the drifter. I don't have to tell anybody why I'm the hobo. I've been the hobo for 7 years. I'm on television. I've been on TV. I don't have to say anything.
I just want you to get redder and redder and redder.
His next shirt should say, "I'm on television."
Just a quote with like a thumbs up. That's good. Backstage, we get a glimpse of Finn Balor who's preparing for his match. We find out against Rich Swann.
Whoa.
And they put on a hell of a match, unexpectedly, I would say counter style to what you would expect from them. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of this one?
This made sense to me. It honestly did. Rich Swann, being the smaller guy, has got a speed advantage over Finn, because Finn's generally the smaller, faster opponent himself. So it's a bit of a switch for us, because now we get to see Balor in control in a physical sense, while Rich Swann is the one always looking to quicken the pace and snap on the offense.
Mm-hmm. Bill?
Awesome match. Always great to see Rich Swann. Awesome to hear Rich Swann's theme song. For those of you who may not know, when Rich was on the Indies, he used All Night Long by Lionel Richie as his theme song. And this is a really, really awesome sound-alike for All Night Long. It's
pretty good Incompetech version of All Night Long.
No, it's so good. I love the theme music so much. And it's just great to see Rich Swann. It's great to see him get like a competitive match against the champ of NXT. Super great match. I mean, there's not a lot to say other than you should watch it if you haven't seen it. Although, the only thing I do want to say, you mentioned like we cut to Finn Balor backstage. It seems like ever since Finn Balor brought the leather jacket to NXT, they cut to backstage and he's putting his clothes on. And I always just wish they would like go backstage like 30 seconds earlier, like when he's like pulling the shorts up.
That's a little weird, Bill.
Tying the trunks.
He's a
weird,
beautiful man.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not clamoring to see him.
Well, because you know the truck feed is like, all right, he's got the shorts on. We're gonna take camera 4 in 3, 2, take camera.
Well, no,
4.
because it's a pre-recorded show, they probably have the whole segment. But
true.
At the very end of the day, you have a 55-minute show. You have to cut something. You cut Finn Balor getting dressed.
Yeah, well, you know they put out the After Raw DVD set. They're gonna put on the Before NXT DVD set. It's like just nudity.
It's gonna be the sexiest DVD ever to be put
and
out.
Triple XT.
Yes.
It's gonna be uncut in many ways because Finn Balor is from the UK.
Well, anyway, let's go from that. I mean, it was real good, pretty good. But I like how we're talking about, oh yeah, it's a pretty good match when we're seeing a guy get out of a a drop down with a full front flip, landing on his feet.
Yeah. Countered.
Going for a monkey flip to get out of a headlock, but it being
There was
stuck.
a wrist
A
lock,
snatch Hurricane Rana
Yep.
when Finn was on the top rope. Like, all this amazing stuff. We were like, yeah, it's a pretty good match.
Well,
Pretty great.
It's just
Because it's them. Like, that's who they are.
right.
That's the bummer about like when it's two like absolute world class athletes. Like that's the bummer is you often don't have as much to say about it as like, for example, Alexa Bliss getting her head just obliterated into the match.
Yeah, when things go right, it's not news. When things go really badly, that's news. But this whole thing was supposed to prep Finn Balor for Samoa Joe. When Rich Swann isn't even close to the size of Samoa Joe, does this really prep him? Am I supposed to believe that? Oh, he beat Rich Swann.
Well,
now
no.
he's ready.
No, you prep just like you train with like a weighted vest on for like, you know, running or whatever. Like you train against a much faster, much more agile, much quicker person, so that
you can get the speed down.
Yeah, so that you're already ahead of the game.
I guess, all right, I see your argument. So he has to now be fast as Rich Swann to catch Rich Swann, which will put him ahead of
Samoa Joe.
To
slow him down.
Slower.
Yeah.
I guess that
That's how,
does work.
So that's how,
All right.
like, kayfabe wise, like, you would train either that way, or you would train by, like, wrestling a 500-pound guy.
Right.
Like,
Now,
you
my
wouldn't
friend
find
goes
someone,
wrestle a
like,
500-pounder.
You wouldn't want to find someone who's, like, the exact same size and dimensions as Samoa Joe, because you've already wrestled that guy.
Right. Well, train with Bull Dempsey at that point, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
more about that later in the show.
Yeah.
We have Alex backstage with Emma and Dana. Pretty dang good promo from these two.
Like always.
Emma's talking about how it's going to be a lot different this time in reference to facing Asuka. And Dana actually reveals that she's been hurt since TakeOver Respect, and she's been helping Emma with her fitness expertise. Dana looks fine, but isn't. Emma's going to do the job. She would, or otherwise, she would squash.
If it was
up
Asuka.
to Dana, she would squash Asuka tonight.
And Emma's going to prove that she should be having the title match, not Asuka. And we still get a head pat. Poor Alex.
Yeah. I don't know if Emma was as confident as her words made her out to be.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't seem to have the tone and the inflection of somebody who's going into this match going, yeah, I got her beat already and I've barely done anything. She's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna win. Yeah.
Self-rationalization, just like,
And that's exactly right, because Emma, ever since becoming Dark Emma, like, I can't say enough about her. I can't write enough about how amazing and next level she's been this entire time. Just like her character is so brilliant, and she has played it to the hilt without ceasing. And it's always a pleasure to see her in any capacity. And she's just doing it so well. She's doing everything. Like her character, her promos, like everything plays to the whole, like, her character is the person who accomplished everything at NXT, got to the next level, got sent back for largely forces beyond her control, and is like bitter about it and angry about it and wants to take it out on everyone else. But at the heart of everything, it's someone who's deeply insecure about who she is and the role she's in because of what has happened to her in real life. It's so awesome. It's so nuanced, and it's great.
I agree.
There's
Totally
a
agree.
lot of subtlety, which in wrestling sort of gets overlooked. Because nothing is subtle in our particular
there's
business.
a lot of subtlety and nuance in NXT characters, because they're all characters that we've seen grow and evolve and adapt over the course of years, as opposed to a lot of times on the main roster, there are characters like John Cena is an example of a fairly nuanced character that we've seen evolve through so many levels and do so many things. Right. Same with like where Dolph Ziggler's at right now. Same with where Kevin Owens is at right now. But there are also a lot of characters who sort of have to remain the same from week to week to week, like The Undertaker or Kane. Where, I mean, those backstories are complicated as hell.
Right.
But at the same time,
done their time to have that consistency.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you look at Undertaker and like, that's a dead man. Like that's, and I mean, you could
that guy's
be like,
dead. D-E-D dead.
You could be like, he's the MMA grandpa who used to be the All-American biker, and before that, he was an actual Old West mortician. But you don't have to do that because you're just like, Undertaker, he's a dead man.
Yeah, you can put two and two together.
Right.
Dig it. Deep Thoughts with Bill Hanstock. That's something you can only find right here on the NXT. That's not true. You can find it on Rudo Radio. You can find it on a lot of different places. Cage Side Seats.
Wherever Bill Handstocks
are sold. So before we get further on into the show, time to have a little bit of fun. Speaking of nuanced, no, seriously. Speaking of nuanced,
should we get our voices down real low?
No, that's not.
Okay.
let's do that.
No, it's something to get excited about.
Okay.
So we've told you about our friends over at DraftKings. Something that I didn't know that they do and found out recently is that you could do DraftKings with golf. And I mean, as of late, golf. It's really weird to say this, but golf really has been on an uptick, and the Happy Gilmore effect has been slowly gaining traction in professional golf. So,
there's so many young golfers on Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy and Bubba Watson. They're energizing the game.
We're in a post Tiger Woods world, everybody. And here's what you can do. Golf's first major is right around the corner, and you can play 1 week of fantasy golf for free at DraftKings.com. So you just pick 6 golfers before the tee off, stay under the salary cap, rack up points for streaks, per hole performance, tournament finishes, all that great stuff. Outscore the competition, and you could win big with every tournament. Whether you live and breathe golf, or you're just ready to try a new fantasy sport, which I would recommend. Fantasy golf is actually, it's pretty entertaining. Like seriously. DraftKings brings the excitement of the game to a whole new level, and with every monster drive and made putt bringing you closer to victory. DraftKings is more than just fantasy golf. Choose from a variety of sports. We've talked about MMA. We've talked about football. Showcase your winning skills. Millions of sports fans have already discovered DraftKings. Now it's your turn. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. So here's what you got to do. Fantasy golf contests begin when the tournaments tee off, so go to DraftKings.com now and choose your golfers. But in order to let them know that we sent you, use the promo code BUZZ and you can play for free. That's promo code BUZZ to play for free now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
You do it so nice.
And I would just like to add that I have nothing to add to this at all.
Not even that you eat pieces of crap like me for breakfast?
Not even.
Okay.
Nope.
And if you go to DraftKings.com and make a golf team or roster, you should definitely make your username some iteration of Shooter McGavin.
Totally,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Or Happy Gilmore, or Grizzly Adams, or
Shooter McGavin would be
Tubbs.
such a good wrestling name.
Well, yeah, but
yeah, he'd be an amateur type.
so it's like
Shooter?
trademarked.
Well, yeah.
Or Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
He's Scottish.
I'm Shooter McGavin.
We get a package backstage.
I'm going to break your leg, Shooter McGavin.
We need a new Scott at WWE.
Sure you do.
We've got a bunch of Irish dudes.
Yeah, now we need the Scottish.
Yeah.
Scottish Invasion. That's the Beatles, right? So we get a package highlighting Shinsuke Nakamura's arrival in WWE. We see the announcement in Japan, his contract signing in Connecticut, and his arrival at the Performance Center, and then our what we saw last week where he challenged Sami Zayn to a match at TakeOver. Do you think the world at large is ready for Shinsuke Nakamura?
Yeah, I would have to say, yeah. He's got a style that really is much, much larger than any sort of, I'd say, Japanese wrestling style, because he's a showman at heart, so he plays everything up. He is the absolute center of attention when he is in that ring. He eats up that limelight. He just loves it. I think he's perfect for this.
They call him Swagsuke for a reason. I think absolutely the most important thing is that NXT is absolutely ready for him. And having him debut at NXT TakeOver Dallas is the perfect time and the perfect place. And it's going to be in front of the perfect crowd. The crowd's going to treat him like he is the world famous superstar that he is. They're going to treat him with the utmost respect. They're going to go crazy for everything he does. He's going to have a match against the most beloved person in NXT history, and it's going to blow the roof off of the place. It may very well be the best match of all of WrestleMania weekend. I mean, it has that potential, certainly on paper, to do that. And I think that it's just so smart to have him come into this setting, as opposed to, say, introducing him in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or something to that effect, where, you know, you'll have like 80,000 people in an arena and like maybe 65,000 of them aren't familiar with him, as opposed to like I don't know how many people are seated in the takeover. I assume
we don't know how many
10,000
tickets
or more.
Yeah.
But you know, every single one of those people is going to be like there to see Shinsuke Nakamura make his NXT debut.
And for the folks who aren't familiar, seeing that response will make people go, "Oh, maybe he is somebody super important. Maybe I should go do some research, see what this guy's all about."
Because this time next year, anyone who isn't familiar with Shinsuke Nakamura at this point is going to own a Yow shirt, like by next year.
WWE's version of it.
Yeah.
Our next match, fun surprise: Alexa Bliss versus Sarah Dobson. A lot of Bliss control in this. Sarah didn't really get too much when it came to offense.
A little bit early on, but as soon as got to the corner, Alexa found a dirty way to get on top, and
As she does.
pretty much stayed there.
Yeah.
the
There was that dive where it looked like Alexa got a face full of knees.
Yeah,
And responded with a huge slap.
that was a meat.
That was a forearm?
Sink that forearm in. I mean, she was lucky to not have her pretty face rearranged by Sarah Dobson's knees.
She hit her with a forearm so hard that a gif of that forearm shot should be like the response to like when you want to tell somebody to go F off.
Yeah.
Like that's the response that'll slap the taste out of anybody's mouth.
Hobo, did you like the match? Would you say it was a little bit hit or bliss?
Yes, a little bit hit or bliss. Sarah Dobson's not the cleanest wrestler.
You'd have to
in
be
the world.
mad not to enjoy this or crazy. However, I don't know. Shut up.
Use take
Good
two.
try. Good try.
Yeah, Ray, could we peel back and use take two? Thank you. All right, let's continue the show.
But yeah, it was goodish. I just was kind of like a match just to remind you that Alexa Bliss is still wrestling.
And ready to take it to the next level.
Alexa Bliss is just so awesome. I love
Always.
her so much. And also, if we were doing like if there was an NXT yearbook that was doing like superlatives, she would definitely win most tan.
She's been putting her time in at the tanning bed. She's just getting ready for that Texas weather. I'll tell you, not that
She's
Florida's
gonna fit
a slouch.
right in.
She's doing the tactic of like if I get tan enough, I don't have to use sunscreen ever.
Yeah.
Yes,
Totally.
yes.
Just develop an outer bark.
That makes sense. So from here, we've got Alex backstage with Samoan Joseph. Sorry, Samoa Joe. Samoan Joseph was
There's
his
some
father.
good puns in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, you need to read those later.
No, you can't tell me what to do. Alex and Joe in the back just starts talking about his opponent at TakeOver. Finn's been on a roll lately. Joe gives him just a huge stare down and walks off. Almost takes off his head just by looking at him. Joe's not in the best of moods, which we see our good old buddy Bull Dempsey, ProWrestlingTees.com/Bull, coming out for a match. We don't know against who yet, but Samoa Joe comes out, chokes him out, goes for a mic. We see Danny Burch is in the ring waiting for Bull Dempsey to arrive. He chokes out Danny Burch, and he shouts at the camera, "Balor, you see that? You will not survive." He's just really mad.
He's very angry.
Seeming like
Why are you so angry?
he's taking food out of the other wrestlers' mouths by not allowing them to wrestle.
Right.
They're not going to get paid for that. There's no match.
I don't know. If it were me, I'd say penalize Samoa Joe, give the other guys their pay.
No,
it's not their fault they didn't wrestle.
Yeah,
it's Samoa Joe's.
If we're going by kayfabe, which we always are,
Of course.
those two men signed a contract to wrestle a match. Now, that match got interrupted by forces beyond their control, so therefore they can claim force majeure and recoup their losses.
Right.
Good.
So, Danny Burch, real quick. Danny
Please,
Burch.
Danny Burch.
Danny
So,
Burch.
I made note of his, like, paint-covered pants that he always wears and how much I dislike them. But as I said that, I was, like, joking, like, oh, I just came straight from painting the den. Like, but that immediately made me give a character to Danny Burch that made me like really like him. Like he's just a single dad working like 3 jobs.
He's everybody's dad.
Yeah, he's working 3 jobs, and one of those jobs is that he's a wrestler that isn't very good at it. And he's like, "This is the only pair of pants I have. I gotta wear them to the auto shop. I'm an after-hours middle school janitor. And
Man of a million.
Wrestle."
Man of a million jobs.
Yeah, and all those kids.
He's all of the 90s job gimmicks.
You know all those middle school kids give him crap about his paint pants.
He's crappy economy man.
Because middle school kids are the worst people in the world.
If Boy Meets World taught us anything.
So he has to deal with that all day and then go to the ring and get Coquina clutched when he's like, I was supposed to wrestle the
and
other
this
guy.
this was supposed to be the like this is one of the jobs that he likes too.
Yeah.
Like everything else is like, well, at least I got a match tonight.
At least I can be on TV.
He's sprinkling sawdust on puke and he's like, it's all gonna be worth it later when I wrestle Bull Dempsey.
Couldn't keep that one in. That was really good. The house painter, Danny Burch.
Nice.
Really good. Speaking of really good, we have this amazing underdog WrestleMania-esque package about American Alpha. Have a sit-down interview about their amateur careers. We get a little bit from both guys about where they started. Jason Jordan, we know he started super early on. If you watch Breaking Ground, if you didn't, watch Breaking Ground, and then also watch our Breaking Ground after show. And then hearing about Gable being his lowest was losing in London and not getting it done. And he's not going to lose ever again like he did in London. And this time it's going to be for gold. And it's like, this is perfect. This is awesome. What did you guys think of the package?
I thought it added so much context because you think of these guys as superior athletes who are on top of everything, when in reality they fell quite short, and they make it known in this interview that they're not everything that they want to be, and that they're still striving for the thing that they missed out the most, which is the championship titles that they have never gotten. So they're going to try and achieve the tag team championships as sort of a replacement for the titles they didn't get in their amateur status. I also like this for all the B-roll of that nasty German suplex that apparently he can just hit out of nowhere
That he
at all.
still does.
Yep.
He's a monster.
It's
What did you
just
think,
about
Bill?
getting your weight low, man. Just pop the hips, get it low, lean back, and the guy will go. There's no way you can fight it, really. There's not enough forward pull that can counter a guy who really wants to German suplex you.
Mm-hmm. And Chad Gable's so small and dense, like he's like a black hole. You know, you can't resist him.
We're in space a lot today. That's great.
I'm always in space. This package was so great, and it's like one of, WWE and NXT have always been so good at their video packages, and this was like in the upper echelon. So awesome. So great to see both of these guys, see their backstory, see all this awesome personal home video footage and photos of them. And what's crazy is like as good as it was, it just scratched the surface of the amazing lives these two have had.
Yeah.
Jason Jordan's amateur wrestling career is insane.
He started when he was like 7.
Yes, but also like when he
picture.
was at Indiana University, he weighed 225 and he wrestled at 285. He wrestled in the 285 weight class.
Wow, I didn't know that.
60 pounds lighter than all of his opponents, which means he was 80 pounds lighter than all of his opponents, because that's the weight you make is 285.
Right.
That is insane. And as 225, wrestling in 285, he went 35-0 in the regular season.
Oh my God.
That is Jason Jordan. That is how awesome that dude is. So as much as we love Gable to death, like, mad props for Jason Jordan for all he's done.
He's always been the strong guy in the tag team when whether it's with current tag team or previous tag team. So that's no surprise, but that he was a strongman. Not a king of strongman style, but that I didn't know that. That's I wish we get like a WWE 24/7 special on just the two of them. We get a whole documentary about their careers and where they are.
Or Breaking Ground season 2 can just be Gable and Jordan, or True Detective season 3.
I would totally do that. That's amazing. Okay, next a little. It started out a little bit confusing, and then got very, very clear. We got a little bit of EDM playing. We got some lights. We got some fancy stuff happening on the screen, and then a voice, or rhythmically saying, "No way, Jose." What the hell is this, gentlemen? If I may ask so boldly.
Well, this is Jose.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Yes,
I'm afraid to say yes.
I don't. Well, I don't believe it because they're telling us no. There's no way, Jose.
It's reverse psychology.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
Is that the gimmick?
They say no way, and then they give it to you. So it's obviously yes way, but there's no way it's yes way, and it is yes way.
Or like his music's gonna
Anyway.
start. His music's gonna start. He's gonna walk out. He's gonna hear "No way, Jose." And he's like, "Oh, well, sorry. Okay, that was my time." And then he's just
it.
gonna leave. That's it.
That's it. Silver.
Do we know who Jose is?
We have a good hunch.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, let's report it.
We believe it to be Levis Valenzuela, who was one of the 9 international superstars signed at the same time as Seisu Uha and Noof, among others.
We've seen him on Breaking Ground, mostly in the background.
Yeah. He's been on NXT. He's had matches on NXT before.
Manny
Yes.
Garcia was what he was going at.
no,
Could have
maybe.
been, yeah.
Yeah. He's the afro.
He's
Yes.
got
Or the
big
long
goofy hair
Yeah.
and like white pants.
Yeah. No, Manny Garcia.
Don't worry, everyone. It's not La Sombra.
Yeah.
No, that's what I thought. Is if we're going Jose, it's got to be somebody like. No, it wasn't. Okay, so are we?
Exactly like that.
What's No Way Jose doing in the Impact Zone tag?
The wrong thing to say. What's our timetable? Do you think are we gonna get
Well, we saw those
right after WrestleMania
I don't know, because we saw those Nia Jax things forever.
for about 2
A
months?
little while.
Yeah, I think it'll be a couple months.
I think that's a way. This is a way for fans to get it and to get used to it, and then at Takeover they're gonna have maybe a longer one and actually show them, and then maybe another couple months. And like Nia Jax, it was maybe a month or so after when she debuted.
Yeah. We saw it at
Takeover Brooklyn.
Takeover
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the.
And
Good
when
morning.
she actually debuted, I have no idea.
Before Respect.
Before.
So it was within that 2 month period. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, I
we'll get
think,
the same
like,
thing
'cause-
there.
Month
Because
then.
even if he debuts like in the next set of tapings, that could still be another month.
True. Yeah, I guess that's the case.
Either way, from what little we got, sounds like it could be a fun character.
Hopefully it's fun and not like painfully overly done.
Thank you.
I just
We'll see. What?
my only hope is that it's not too dancing based, because
We already got that.
yeah, Fandango was already a thing, and so
And
is
That's why I'm
Ember.
wondering.
so well.
It's interesting why they would go back to the well for something like this when they've already had it once and he's still working for the company.
Maybe he'll come back down and form a tag team.
Maybe it's working for the Hype Bros.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Though some would argue Zack Ryder's a little bit more.
Fandang Jose.
Fandang Jose.
Fun Don Jose.
I like it. We find out that there actually is going to be a show next week, despite what we may have heard. And
We're as surprised as you.
seriously, because all of the matches that, like the Asuka match, ended the taping at the last taping. So the fact that we're getting Apollo Crews versus Alex Riley and Samoa Joe versus Bull Dempsey, surprising. Didn't know where they shot it. I do that sometimes. It's okay.
King of Wrong Style.
King of Wrong Style. That's me. King of Brain Damage Style. So where
So many jokes like that.
where did these matches come from? Did
They
they?
pulled them from the ether.
Is it just
Yeah.
randomly out of order? Just like, hey,
Maybe
here's
they
some.
filmed it at the Arnold.
Yeah, they released Bull, and then they're like,
Called him
yeah,
back.
Bull, we need you to come back and do some pickups. By which we mean wrestle another match, please.
By wrestling, I mean literally try to pick up Samoa and Joseph, please.
I think that both on the CFE Arena tapings and the subsequent set of tapings, they're putting stuff out of order.
I figure, yeah, because didn't you say there was an Alex Riley match that we didn't see when we were going through those?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
an Elias Sampson match.
Yeah, and an Elias Sampson match.
There's a lot of stuff and also like the Gargano match from the CFE tapings and the Ciampa versus Dempsey match in that set of tapings were like the the Ciampa one was like actually on the first taping.
Okay.
And the Gargano one was on the last one because Gargano actually wrestled elsewhere and had to drive to CFE Arena.
Right.
So,
yeah.
but they aired them in reverse. They put the Gargano one in the first set of those tapings. And
So do you think we're gonna get these in a standard NXT format, or if we're gonna get a takeover preview with, oh hey, we have these matches too?
Hell if I know.
Cool.
There's
I'm
no,
not a
there's no way to tell you.
mind
There's no
So
way to
while we're at next week, let's at least talk about it a little bit, and we'll go into more at the end of the show. Next week we are going to have a show, but it's not going to be live. We're not going to be on camera. We're going to record an audio show, so maybe we can take a nice picture in Dallas and put that up as a video on AfterBuzz or something. But it's definitely going to be on iTunes, so make sure you go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. If you go to the podcast section, search for NXT, we're on top. So
We're number one.
We're number one.
That's right.
NXT team, baby.
NXT team. Hashtag NXT team. So make sure to subscribe. You will get it. What? You'll get
Nothing.
it.
Shaking his head at me.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I'm off the hook.
Oh, you.
That's the real, that's a sitcom when it happened. So make sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Leave us a thumbs up. Leave us some stars. We will read your reviews on air if you do so. It helps us out. It keeps us at the #1 spot. So please, iTunes, NXT, subscribe, and that's how you'll get our show next week. Also, follow us all on Twitter. We're not at the end of the show yet. Follow us all on Twitter for more information. But let's get to our main event, which is Emma versus Asuka, a rematch from TakeOver London. What did you gents think?
I thought this actually was a little bit better than I thought it would be. Granted, the first outing that they had was an absolutely underrated match going into it. Like, I did not expect anything from the first one, and it over-delivered. This, I thought, was good. Not as good as that match, but still pretty good, fairly even. But there was really no way Asuka was going to lose this match. There really wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was just sort of like, okay, this is cool. And then you get to the end, and you're like, yep, that's the end.
A lot more submission heavy than I was expecting. What about you, Bill? What did you think?
Actually, I think I like this match like a lot better than their takeover match.
Really?
I just thought it was great. I mean, yes, the sort of suspense of who would win was sort of taken out of it, but I felt like they just had such a great, it's just such a great match. It told such a great story, and they, especially in the home stretch, they busted out such rad stuff like that rebound hip attack and.
Yeah, the drop kick to the low.
Yeah, like the
butt bump.
last 5 minutes was just like perfect.
Like, hope you're paying attention.
Yeah.
It's surprising that these two individuals, despite their very different backgrounds, mesh incredibly well in that ring. They really aren't afraid to hit their opponents and really try and make it something that this is going to win. Nothing is ever taken for granted in there. Everything is done to its maximum effect, and they try to really, really get the job done. And I think that watching them is a treat.
And I think this is more true for Asuka than for like a lot of other wrestlers. Is I love watching, like I so much prefer watching Asuka wrestle someone on her like of her status than like just watching her like knock out Deonna Purrazzo again. You know, like I mean, as amazing and horrifying as that is, like it's like a beautiful car wreck, but like it's like Asuka's awesome in like the look at how much of a monster she is, but she's also awesome in the look at someone take her to her limit. Like
right, because you need somebody to push the person who's supposedly on top to remind you that they're on top. If you don't have that moment where you're going, wow, is this going to happen, then you really aren't fully using this person. They needed that push. They need the competition. Every person needs competition to make themselves the best that they can be, and Asuka needs that just as much as anybody else, just as much as Emma needs it. And Emma does need it, but so does Asuka. So I think this whole thing has been sort of Emma's attempt at retribution and her way to try and finally beat Asuka for the first time at their second meeting, and it just couldn't happen. So I think I'm interested to see where Emma's going to be this time around. How is she going to be feeling? How is she going to react? Is she going to change strategies? Is she going to act out? What does this mean for Emma?
Something else that I found interesting about this match too is we didn't get a lot of Dana Brooke like interfering or shouting at the ref.
We got enough.
We got a bit of it, but it wasn't anything like she's been in the past, trying to be the center of attention so that the opponent doesn't stops paying attention, and that hasn't worked on Asuka. So this whole match, like you're saying, felt like a strategy shift for these two.
Well, I mean, the first time they did it, Dana Brooke got very, very involved, and that really didn't work at all.
No.
So now it's kind of like, well, you stay on the outside and try and find spots to interfere while I do the bulk of the work, because I'm sure Emma said to her, I actually want to beat her. Like, I would love to see that conversation. I don't want you to do much out there. I actually want to beat her. This is really important to me, and I want to beat her on my own. Like, that would have been great. A great addition to what this match was trying to give us.
And it gave us a lot.
Yeah.
It started out like, oh, this is going to be good, and then it went into that great women's match on regular TV that we have always gotten on NXT.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the show overall, gents?
Show overall, really solid. I can't imagine what next week is going to bring. We're just basically waiting for TakeOver to drop.
Yeah.
1 hour shows are great, but they also aren't the best for a go home show. If you take last week and this week together, that would be the perfect go home show. We'll have to see what happens next week, but it sure seems like this, if you paired last week and this week, okay, now we're ready for TakeOver. We're going. We're there.
I think we need the one last little bit for the NXT title. Last week was great for. We're getting them in segments, sort of like how Raw has been, where you got the Undertaker and Shane match ending a Raw. Then this past week you got Dean and Brock ending a Raw. This next week we'll probably get Roman and Triple H ending a Raw. I think it's a similar thing so that they rhyme. Thank you, George Lucas. Here, where we're getting each big title match as a final segment. So I think maybe, hopefully, our buddy Bull's swan song will be pretty. It won't just be pure destruction from Samoa Joe's part, and we get a match like this where we see how ready the challenger is.
We can only hope,
and we will continue to hope. But before we go, because we're not going quite yet, we have one piece of news and gossip. And that, speaking of our girl Emma, is that she will be competing at WrestleMania this year. Yay. Not even TakeOver. She's going to be in a multi-diva tag team match with Lana and Naomi and Tamina and Summer Rae. So far, it's 5-on-4, with the other side being all cast members of Total Divas. Who is it? It's Foxy, Brie, Natalia, and Paige. Yes. That's who it was. So if it might be a 5-on-5, I don't know who the fifth is.
Maybe Natty.
Natty's already on it.
Yeah,
oh shit! I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
I have a strong hunch who it's going to be.
Do you, Bill?
I do.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be Queen Eva Marie. Yes,
Eva. Yes. Why do you say that?
Well, although it doesn't make sense heel or face wise, the Divas division has never been super strong in heels versus faces, but Lana has been calling the other team Total Divas a lot, and Eva Marie, as much as a lot of people in the chat don't want to admit it, has gotten way better over the past several months, and I mean, she's pretty much done everything she can at this point to make the NXT crowd hate her. So now it's time to go up to the main roster and have them hate her.
So the Total Divas will be wrestling in the heel position, arguably.
Well, who else? We've heard your prediction, Bill, and we're going to take it into consideration. Do we think anybody from NXT is going to show up? Do we think no?
I don't think so.
Do you think this could be a time for Mandy to debut?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe it's time for her.
But
she's finally done the thing.
But I just, from a fan standpoint, how anticlimactic is Mandy? That's
Our fifth member is Mandy.
I love Mandy. I love her on Total Divas. I interviewed her in person. She's a great person. just like from a fan standpoint, like even Eva Marie, like at least it's like, oh hey, that's a person I know, instead of like, man, we haven't seen anything. Like we saw her for like
a couple episodes,
10 weeks on Tough Enough, and like a few episodes of Total Divas, but like we saw her in the ring like precisely once, and not even for that long. Like that's not.
If it's Team Total Divas, we have one Total Diva in NXT, and that's Dana Brooke.
Well,
this is her shot. Guys,
awesome.
This is her tryout to be on Total Divas, because that's how it works, right? You gotta have a tryout to be on Total Divas.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you fit in.
Mandy could work. I mean, Rosa Mendez had a baby.
No, she's still getting back into fighting shape.
Yeah. She had a baby.
That whole baby thing.
She had a little baby.
That's how babies work. I'm glad we're talking about babies.
Well, I think there's another Total... Oh, there is another Total Diva in NXT.
Who is it?
JoJo.
Yeah, but she's not been in the...
I know.
She's not.
But if we're like going
You're the
Mandy...
only
like,
person who watches Total Divas
That is
at
not
this
true.
table. At this table.
At this table.
At this table.
Well,
so
that's-
you literally are our entire source for
That's-
Total Divas information.
That's y'all's problem. Because it's
No,
that
that's
shit.
You know what?
That's my lack of a headache.
I don't watch Total Divas, but I love your live tweeting
I
of
don't-
Total Divas episodes.
I don't watch Total Divas, but some of my best friends are Total Divas.
So, also, because next week is going to be a little bit of a weird show, we're going to be doing it on location. We're going to do a quick rundown preview of the TakeOver matches. We do have some time left. So, I'm going to run through this really quick. Do we think Apollo Crews and Elias Sampson is going to happen at TakeOver?
So we're gonna do the Karnak bit.
Like,
Well, no, just in general, because next week we have...
I think that it will be.
I think it may happen before TakeOver, but it will not happen.
It won't be on the show.
Yeah.
It'll be the pre-show match.
There's no way that the matches had zero build. You've already have all these great matches
We've got
lined up.
6 matches.
That's enough. That's enough for a TakeOver.
That's enough. No more NXT for you. We have Austin Aries and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, all right.
So what do you? We're running down the matches.
Super sweet. Can't wait. Austin Aries NXT next.
That's what it means. That's what NXT. Yeah, finally got it after all these years.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. I love Baron Corbin, and I love what he's doing, and I love that he hates all indie wrestlers, and it's gonna be great to.
It's so easy.
Do you think we're gonna
Should be
see?
super easy?
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna see Austin Aries wrestle next week?
No. I'm gonna say no.
No,
So we're gonna
I
have
wanna see
2
him debut.
active
Yeah.
debuts at Takeover. All right,
Unless he wrestles Sad Paint Pants Dad.
Danny Burch,
Yeah. Sad Paint Dad.
Sad Paint Pants Dad. Call us. I mean, we've made the offer several times that you can put us on retainer. I'm just gonna reinforce it now. Should probably send some money our way.
Should do it.
We have, let's just stick with singles matches. We have Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, how long do you think this one will go? Do you think they'll give this one like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I think it'll probably be like 16 to 18. That would probably be like the sweet spot. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it went 20 or longer. Like it's gonna be great. They're gonna put on a clinic, and it's I mean, it's probably gonna be one of, if not Sammy's last match in NXT as a full-time NXT dude.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like this. Honestly, like I'm getting a little bit choked up thinking about it right now. Like this has a potential to like it's not gonna reach the emotional heights of like Bayley Sasha, but like this could be.
It's going to be the weirdest passing of the torch.
This could get real emotional in the arena, especially if Sammy gets emotional afterwards, because knowing the type of dude Sammy is, he's
Or
definitely-
during. Like, he keeps hitting moves that just don't put Nakamura away, and he just can't get it done.
Sami Zayn
match? Yeah. We're going to get a classic Zayn. So, I mean, regardless, that's going to be an amazing... All of these matches are just going to be super stellar. The Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder versus American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable for the NXT Tag Team Championships of the world.
My expectations is for this to deliver.
That's
I
it?
am
Just going to
expecting-
deliver? Here, packages
Yes.
arrived. And sign it and I'll get out of here.
Yes.
My
That package-
expectations will be met.
That package is going to explode!
My expectations are really high, which I don't like having high expectations because generally when you have high expectations, you're never going to actually have them met. That being said, I think this will actually meet my expectations, them being unusually high for this kind of match.
This kind of match. What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, you got the two shorter, heavier guys versus the short guy with long hair and the tall guy with short hair.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Bill, how about you?
It's going to be so great, and the boyhood dream is going to come true, and the American Alpha is
Yeah,
going
American
to
Alpha is going to take it. I
win.
love the Revival, and they
As-
would be the biggest a-holes if they
Yeah,
won.
yeah,
That would be fantastic.
As Brandon Stroud put it on today's episode of Rudo Radio, if Revival retains at TakeOver, like, what are we even doing? what's going on? This is like the easiest
Revival wins,
layup.
we riot.
It would be Puerto Rican heat. I love it. Stab the Revival. Yes. Torches and pitchforks for the win.
I miss
You guys
Bruiser.
are over.
I miss Bruiser.
Yeah, we all do. But Gable and Jordan, like, this is a good example of, like, everyone in the arena is going to want them to win so bad, and they're going to be, like, so emotionally invested in it, but not in a way that they're emotionally invested in Bailey and Sasha, and not in the way that they're invested in Sammy. Because it's just like, oh, it's finally going to happen, yay! And then it's just going to be sheer joy. Like, that's the emotion. It's just fun ending in joy. As opposed to, like, oh God, please, I'm going to die if a thing doesn't, like...
Right, but that was Sasha and Bailey.
Yeah.
Was if this doesn't happen,
Right.
she's going to die.
And so
That's how
are
they
we.
presented it.
Yeah.
Like Tinkerbell.
It's going to fade out of existence.
No,
No, everybody would
no,
clap.
God.
Everybody would do everything they could to keep Bailey
God,
alive.
someone hug her! Is there a hugger in the house?
I'm a hugger! Get down there,
Me
sir!
too.
It's like instead of an X, it's like, oh, we need a hug. Following that, speaking of Bailey, we have Bailey versus Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship. So now, this is going to be pure physicality. We're not going to get the emotion that we got from Sasha Bailey, but this is going to hit home on multiple fronts. What are you guys expecting from this?
I saw in chat that they were expecting Asuka to just run over Bailey. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be an incredible clash because what Asuka can dish out, we've seen Bailey take it. Bailey is resilient as hell, so she can take that beating and then find the opportunity for offense and then deliver said offense for a victory. So the possibility is there for her to retain. I'm just looking forward to this. This should be a beating.
Bill?
I've been predicting a title change for a while, but as we get closer and closer, it gets harder and harder to call because Bailey did find a way to beat Nia, and if anyone could find a way to beat Asuka, it's Bailey.
I would. It's really hard because Bailey is an amazing champion and just an amazing talent for the company, for NXT.
Bailey is going to go to the main roster sooner rather than later.
Sure.
But that is not at all to say that this means that she has to lose the title now.
No. Especially, I mean, the rumors that Finn Balor is going to go up to the main roster with his buddies. Those rumors are just kind of fan conjecture. We don't know if there's anything.
Well, we'll get to that when we predict the next match.
Right.
Sure. But in terms of that, I would love for this to be a draw. In some way, shape, or form, to be like
Just your standard hour Broadway.
yeah, why not?
Sure. How often do they do that these days?
They do not.
double count out, double knockout, just something where nobody wins, and it's they leave literally everything in that ring, and as a result, nobody can win, and nobody loses, but nobody wins.
I like that idea, but I'd like that idea a lot more if Asuka weren't undefeated at this point.
True.
Right.
Because I think
She still wouldn't be defeated because it would be a draw.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like at WrestleMania weekend, like having a non-finish in this match.
If there's a place to take a chance, it's NXT. If there's a place to make you think that, and I'm not saying a DQ, I'm not saying a dusty finish, I'm not saying an interference, or it's just like a distraction finish. Like, no. The NWO slowly walks down the ramp, and everybody's just supposed to stop and be scared. No, like, if
it could be like Kidman or somebody. He was probably in NWO, right?
Everybody was in NWO.
Who wasn't? Really?
DDP. That's it. That's the
DDP and Sting.
Yeah.
Stang. No, he was in Wolfpack.
He was.
True.
Was in
Okay.
Wolfpack.
I thought we were just talking about
Red
black and white.
Sting.
Red Sting.
Yeah.
Sounds. You should see a doctor. That looks infected.
That's for the people watching on YouTube. Thank you. For the people who are just listening, don't watch the YouTube. So you're going to see something you don't like. Our main event is Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. Gentlemen, what are we thinking? Madness.
Here's a match where Finn's buddies might show up.
Right. This in my craziest of crazy theories.
Pretty crazy.
So the guys show up and beat the hell out of Joe. Joe was essentially turning face and
Finn turning heel.
Right. So a double turn in this huge matchup, but it has to have like a finish. There has to be. I guess that would be the finish. Really, you don't need it.
Yeah.
After all that build up, what happens? A debut. That's your finish. That's pretty big. I don't know. As far as
So Finn would retain?
right, he would retain via disqualification. But if none of that happens, I really think Joe's gonna take it. I'm really gonna hand it to Joe.
If I'm doing one non-finish, I have to go with an actual finish on this one where Samoa Joe wins clean, and they still do like a double turn during the match, and then that's when Finn's buddies come down and just beat the hell out of Joe. And then just like, we don't even like you who needs the championship? We're out of here. And then they show up the next Sunday.
I'm going to the main roster. You stay here with a stupid belt.
But you have to say it really quiet. I'm going to the main roster. You stay here with that belt.
What? Hey?
I said I'm going.
Hey, I can't hear you over this title belt that I just won.
My friends and I'm going to go to the main roster.
So loud.
It's getting quieter and quieter.
That was
and quieter.
the ASMR portion of our podcast.
Ooh, let's do an ASMR wrestling
Yeah,
podcast.
Hey, welcome to Between the Bells. That's what I call it.
Hit you right between the bells.
Yep. So I am hoping Samoa Joe takes the title, but I will not be surprised either way.
No matter what, we're going to get a good show.
Yes,
there has not been a
It's
bad
gonna be
takeover
absolutely
yet.
lights out.
Though, if you want to hear if you want to listen to an interesting after show and you've just listened to us for the first time, go back and check out our NXT Respect after show. That was a fun one. That was a really fun one. And then London, go back, listen to all of our after shows, get excited.
Listen to everything.
Yeah, just listen to everything. Listen to Rudo Radio.
Just start listening now and then stop listening next week when takeover happens.
And when our show goes live once again, quote unquote live once again. But until then, we will remind you that we are not going to be live Wednesday night for the NXT show this week, or next week. We're going to be, next week it'll be this week. We're going to record the podcast and we're going to upload it. So make sure you subscribe to our iTunes feed. Just go to iTunes, go to podcast, search NXT. We are there. Make sure to subscribe. Leave us a comment. Leave us a rating. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up. Leave us a subscribe, because then you'll never leave. You'll always have us. And leave us a comment. We only improve with your help. So, until next week, until WrestleMania, until TakeOver week, where can the fans find you?
Well, y'all can find me on Twitter at TrueHobo. I'm wrestling this Sunday in Port Wayne for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood with my probably best friend, Jervis Cottonbelly. That's
Thanks.
right, the Friendship Express will be running wild.
Is that it? Is that the
Yes.
announcement? The tag team.
Friendship
the Friendship
Express.
Express. I voted for that one.
Yay! So did a lot of people.
But so how much will people have to pay to see the show on Sunday?
It's free.
Absolutely free.
Admission is free.
What? And that's in Port Wayne at
Yes.
the Oceanside Pavilion.
Yes.
I'm glad I have it.
It'll be great. I don't know.
Bill?
I got nothing left.
You can find me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. You can check out CagesideSeats.com, SBNation.com/wrestling for all of your wrestling needs. Please check out Rudo Radio, which is my weekly wrestling podcast. We had a really awesome episode today with Brandon Stroud of With Spandex, who you might read on the internet. Next week we've got our big WrestleMania preview. The week after that we've got a really fun show. So please check it out. If you like wrestling, we'll have some giggle time.
Sweet giggle time with Mr. Bill Hanstock. So the AfterBuzz team is going to be going to WrestleMania. So if you are going, make sure to follow all of us on Twitter. NXT team is going to be there. The Raw show is going to be there. The SmackDown show is going to be there. Very few people actually aren't going, which was very surprising. But
and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff all weekend long.
Seriously.
And speaking for myself, I'm going to be tweeting out where I'm going to be. So if you see me, say hi.
As are we.
Same here.
I might be wearing one of these sweet like NXT team related shirts.
Oh, the Boxcar Club shirt, which you can get on nxteam.spreadshirt.com.
Are we coming out with new shirts?
We actually are coming out with new shirts.
Oh
We've got
my
one for
gosh.
Bill, or actually maybe more than one for Bill, depending on which one he likes more, or equally. We got a new one for Hobo, and I think I finally found one for myself that I'm designing. So stay tuned to that. We're going to have new shirts. Follow me on Twitter at MarkBDonica. Follow the wrestling podcast at The Gimmick Pod. We'll probably do something before WrestleMania. We're definitely going to do something at WrestleMania. But for the NXT team, thank you for watching, and we will see you in Dallas.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Details.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.